If you're planning on moving this year, this information is really important to understand. The real estate market right now is confusing. It's difficult to navigate. There's a lot of noise coming from people who are either guessing, hoping the market's going to turn around, or they're just trying to sell you something. This is not another one of those updates. And this is not just some headline recap. It's not a 2026 prediction video, and it's not really about optimism or fear. This video is about what's happening in the Brantford real estate market right now and how you can think clearly about it so you can make your move. The biggest mistake I see people making in this market is being uninformed. Or worse, you're getting all your information from someone whose income and livelihood depends on you doing a deal. My goal with this video is really simple. I want to take the data and translate it into a reality that you can use to make smart decisions. I promise you, if you watch this video all the way through, you're going to understand more about the real estate market than most buyers and sellers who are actively in it. Let's start where the market actually is as of today. In December, 66 homes changed hands here in Brantford. Now, December is always a slower month. That part's normal. What's not normal is how low the overall annual demand has become. When I pull this data as far back as the system allows me, which is 2012, annual demand is now at the lowest point on this chart. And this is important to understand. Demand doesn't magically reset just because the calendar flipped over to January. Now let's look at the inventory. There were 288 homes for sale in December. I was hopeful that inventory would actually drop below 250 as a lot of sellers took their homes off the market for the Christmas break. But that didn't happen. A large portion of sellers stayed on the market. And now as we move into 2026, there'll be a whole nother crop of sellers showing up. That means inventory is likely to continue to keep rising, which will make the market much more competitive for anyone trying to sell this year. Now let's talk about prices. The median sale price for a home here in Brantford dropped to $558,000 in December. And that drop came from two different things happening at the same time. Number one, desperate sellers letting their homes go at a discount in December. And number two, a higher portion of more affordable homes selling versus a lower portion of higher end and luxury homes. Mathematically, prices are now below the low point from the market correction of 2022. And in Brantford, we're seeing prices have retreated back to about December 2020 price levels. Finally, let's touch on seasonality. Yes, historically, demand does improve through January and February and normally peaks sometime in May. But it's important to remember that supply also increases during these months. We're starting the year with all the leftover homes for sale from last year, plus the new sellers are already showing up putting their homes on the market for 2026. Unless something meaningful changes, this is shaping up to be one of the slowest real estate years in the past decade. So that's the honest baseline of where we're at here in January 2026. But let's talk about where things are shifting and what's going to change. Normally, December does something very specific. Inventory drops sharply, the market just clears out, and the new year starts over fresh. But that didn't happen this year. Starting the year with over 250 homes already on the market means the balance of supply and demand is clearly in favor of the buyers, and it will probably remain that way for the entire year. Now, interest rates have remained basically unchanged, and affordability is still pretty tough. And that's especially true for buyers who weren't in the market prior to 2001. And now the most important part of this section, what didn't happen. A lot of sellers and investors have been patiently waiting and hoping for the market to turn around, and it didn't. All indicators are showing the market is clearly still moving in the same direction it's been going for the last 4 years. There's no data that I can pull that shows a change in that direction. And that brings us to the part of this that most people actually skip and is the most important to you. This is where the data can become really useful in making a decision. Let's start with home buyers. Right now, consumer confidence remains incredibly low. People are coming off holiday spending. Those January credit card bills are showing up in the mail. If you weren't already shopping for a home in December, most buyers don't all of a sudden wake up in January and feel confident to start making offers. On the other side of the equation, we have the home sellers. Let's just be honest here, a large portion of the homes for sale are completely out of whack with current pricing. And this always happens when prices are declining. Sellers mentally anchor themselves to a previous sale price in the neighborhood. They think, hey, if my neighbor got X, then my house must be worth Y. That playbook does not work in a flat or declining market. The sellers who respond to the true market conditions that are happening right now are the ones who win. Even in a slow market, there's still going to be about 100 homes sell every single month here in Brantford. And while 100 people might be getting the job done, there could be 3, 4, or 500 other home sellers not getting an offer that month. One of the biggest misreads of the data I see is people ignoring the longer term trends. This market has been slowing for 4 years straight. That type of momentum doesn't just turn around overnight. Demand for homes needs to increase significantly and remain sustained for a period of time to help balance out the inventory. And here's the part that really matters the most. Most people that I work with on a day to day basis are moving their primary residence and they're making decisions based on their lifestyle. That could be family reasons, work reasons. The goal isn't to time a perfect investment. The goal is to make the move happen so you can get on with your life. And that requires being realistic and having a solid plan on both the buy side and the sell side. Going into this market with inflated expectations is a guaranteed losing playbook. So let me break this down to what it might mean for you depending on where you sit today. If you have a property that you must sell this year, you need to stop wasting your time. We need to present your home as the clear best value in your market segment to attract a limited number of buyers to your property. Now, if you're a home seller that can wait and you've already waited it out this long, maybe 2026 isn't your year to jump back in the market. There's no harm in staying on the sidelines if selling your home is optional. Now, if you're a buyer who's been a little frustrated the last couple of years hoping to get into the real estate market, this might be a good time to take a new look at your mortgage qualification and your affordability. Rates have stabilized, and with prices slipping a little bit, you may be surprised what you can afford right now. And if the market continues like this for the remainder of the year, there may be even a softer buying window opening up. If the spring market is slow, you may have a real opportunity to pick up a great deal. And if you're a buyer who's less price sensitive, you've got some equity built up in your home, or you've been doing well financially for yourself, this is your time to strike. Outside of the entry level homes in most markets, everything else is on sale. I'm talking about luxury homes, country estates, and vacation properties. If you have the means to make a lifestyle upgrade right now, there are opportunities everywhere. And if you're in one of life's transition periods, this market matters more to you than most. Because waiting for the market conditions to change to get on with something that's happening on a timeline in your life can be a really frustrating playbook. Right now, there is no clear timeline in place for when this market's going to turn around, so you have to be comfortable having your plans on pause indefinitely if you've got them on pause right now. Now, the last group I want to talk about is people that need to both buy and sell. Quite simply, just recognize that the buying side of the transaction is going to be the easy part. It's the selling that's going to be the bigger challenge this season. If you need to sell your property to use those funds to buy the next home, the smartest playbook is to put your home up on the market and get it sold at your terms so you can become a cash buyer on your next property. Trying to do it the other way around is ending up in disappointment for a lot of buyers as they can't get their home sold, so they can't fulfill their conditions and they lose out on the property to another buyer. Now, let's clear up a few of the bad assumptions in the market right now. We often talk about slow markets like they're bad for everyone, and really they're not. A slow market for sellers is a great opportunity for buyers. You can be picky, you can negotiate, you can do your inspections. But out there in the field, we see that it's still the strongest, most ready to act buyers that are ones that are snagging the great deals, not the tire kickers. If you're out there trying to lowball sellers with an offer that's loaded full of conditions, including needing to sell your home, well, they're not going to take you seriously because they understand that the market's challenging for you as much as it's challenging for them. Another big misconception out there is hope. Hope is not a strategy or a market analysis. Many real estate agents have their fingers crossed, hoping the real estate market improves because their livelihood and incomes depend on it. But the data right now shows the market is continuing to slow, not turning around. And emotionally, the most successful clients are the ones who accept reality, make a plan, and get their move done. The market really doesn't care what numbers you've put into your spreadsheet. So, what do we really need to be watching for as we move into the next few months of this real estate market? Well, here's what I've got my eye on. First is buyer demand. I'm watching for how quickly the buyers show up and what they start making offers on. There's a few possible paths here. Number one is the demand stays weak, the inventory keeps growing, and that likely means one of the slowest years in recent history with more downward pressure on prices. Scenario two, demand actually picks up a little bit relative to the last few years, and the inventory levels off. That would be a signal of a possible market turnaround. And situation three, which is very unlikely, is that there's some major positive economic news and stimulus provided to the real estate market, which causes a sudden increase of buyer demand. Like I said, very low chance that one's happening, but we've got to have it on the playbook. Right now, it's scenario one that's looking most likely. Here's the reality. Markets don't make decisions. People do. And in a market like this, clarity is much more valuable than optimism. If you're trying to make sense of this for your own situation, and you want to talk it through with some local context and very clear thinking, I'm always open to that conversation. No pressure, no rush, just clarity.